Y'all, the bugs? Yes, I did scream when I first saw a cockroach because I knew they were big. I knew they were kind of shiny. I didn't know they could be red like a race car. Okay, that's cute, but they're very fast. I didn't know that. I didn't know that because when you see photos or videos, you don't always see the speed of an animal, right? That is freaking speedy. Freaking speedy. My brother in Christ, gamer in the Lord, where are you going so quickly? You got a job? You going to clock in? Okay. But they're so quick. They're so quick with it. And I'm just like, where are you going, huh? It's almost like you don't pay rent here and you're really trying to avoid it. Speaking of which, I was downtown the other day going to this class thingy. And I was in the slides, you know, and I stepped on a cockroach. And I was like, I feel like this is the full experience. I feel like the equivalent is when my sister kicked a rat when we were sprinting through the streets of Manhattan at 3 a.m. It's a long story. That being said, I feel like I'm more acclimated to the big city life. I have been here about 7 months, 8 months. Y'all, so... sororities? Is that how you say it? Yo, I thought that was a joke. I thought it was a joke. I didn't know people act like, you know how you see something on TV and you're like, okay, that's TV. It's not actually real life. Or like I would read about it in books because I'd be reading books. I know I can read. I thought it, like, I didn't think it was actually a thing. I didn't think people actually cared about like their grandpappy's lineage, legacy of sororities that like older frat bros were in. And then it's like, my son is going to pass on after me and go to the same sorority and like Kappa Alpha Delta Oscar Romeo. I'm just saying the phonetic alphabet. Like, I didn't think that was actually a thing, but it is. And sorority culture is huge in the South. And I know it should be like, duh, have you been living under a rock? I actually have. It's called flight training, and growing up in an immigrant family, I didn't know. I didn't know how much of a thing it is. And it depends who you're talking to, because I am slowly learning, though. I'm learning which ones are like big names, sort of, and I'm like, wow, that's cool, you got in. Am I passing yet? I think I kind of am. I think I'm kind of like, oh, that's like, oh, do you guys play like ping pong? And like, did you have bonding? Rush, right? Rush is like a thing with, I don't even know what I'm saying. I'm gonna move on to the next point because I don't know what I'm saying. Y'all, the budget was not budgeting. I did not see Beyonce in the ATL. I do kind of regret it, but I did finally see United play. Let me say something. Concerts in Atlanta, any type of event, is so much more high energy than anywhere else I've been. And it's probably because I've been on the West Coast, and if y'all know the history of Oregon, there's a lot of... it's very white. That is what I've experienced. And I've seen rap concerts in Portland, Oregon. I have been to... I was gonna say jazz. I'm not that cool. I've been to, like, different types of genres of music. I am a chameleon. Is the H silent? Who cares? English is stole from everybody. Who cares? So... that being said, I can blend into the culture. Like, in Japan, I was more quiet and reserved, right? If I go to a concert, I can be a pretty loud person. I can throw back, I can dance, I can yell. It depends on the situation, and it depends on, like, let's read the room, right? It's 2023. I would hope that we're reading the rooms that we're walking into, that we're blessed enough to be in. That being said, every event that I've attended, because we have attended a footy game, we've attended about 3 events in the couple months we've been here. We work a lot. And Ali and I have been so in love with how people really show up and show out. Like, people really bring a lot of high energy to events. People are dancing, people are yelling, people are like having a good time. And that's really awesome to see, because I feel like Oregon was just reserved. I wasn't as used to it being like, I'm used to the concert caliber, right? I'm used to people being so hyped to see their favorite artist. I am expecting that, but I have been to concerts in Seattle, in Portland, Oregon, so the West Coast, and it's very different. The East Coast is like, the energy is here. The West Coast concerts I've been to, the energy is like here, maybe even here, it depends. So I appreciate that. I appreciate that because I just feel like every time we go see a live event, I know it's going to be really fun because the other people that are there too. ATL shows up and shows out. First of all, ATL is a big city, so it makes sense that concerts are like hyped, like a different level, a different caliber of excitement. But it is really cool because I feel like people are happier here in general. I've said this before, I don't know if a lot of people know about this, but genuinely, I grew up in Portland, Oregon, so the Pacific Northwest does have sad seasonal affective disorder. Like, you get sad because there's not that much sunlight. And I promise you, I've gotten happier since I've moved to Georgia, Atlanta, just on a typical regular basis, even though the bugs be giving me a run for the money and the humidity. However, not only am I happier, I feel like people in general are happier here. Baristas are just like nice, and this is like actually from home, but anyways, because it doesn't have the orange thing. People are in a better mood overall. I feel like multiple, like my coworkers, people that are out in the workforce, people at the grocery store. However, it's different here. People at the grocery store are like talking to me about my day, and I think that's the southern thing that people told me. Southerners are pretty friendly. They will talk to strangers on the street. I've definitely experienced that. I don't expect the conversation to go past hey, how are you? Oh, cool. And then they turn away. That's how the West Coast is. Or they say, hey, what's up? How are you? But then they don't mean it because they're already turning away and not listening to your answer, and they're continuing their walk or to the office or whatever, right? You get me. But over here, when they ask you, they actually like want to hear an answer, and they actually will like listen to you. Y'all, I got the 2. Don't play with me, okay? Because yes, I have the caffeine. I have to go to work in about 10 minutes. I'm finishing up this video, but then your girl needs to stay hydrated. It's so hot, I need to film this at 7 a.m. because every other day I've tried to film, it's been too hot by 8 a.m. to film it in the car, and if I leave the AC running, it's too loud. So the heat's no joke. Humidity's no joke. I ran a lot in Portland, Oregon. I did my first marathon last year. I'm not trying to... That being said, I've been like an endurance athlete for a while. Like, I know a lot about my performance, but moving to Georgia, I've had to recalibrate. Why do I keep saying calibrate? I've had to restructure my whole workout routine because what I was doing before, it doesn't really work for me anymore. It's a lot more humid here and the elevation's higher. So I was a spoiled baby brat. I was a sea-level brat in Portland, Oregon. But let me tell you, rolling hills, what was that? Rolling hills in the Georgia heat and humidity in the middle of summer actually make the steep elevation and cooler weather in Oregon about comparable, because I thought, oh, I was going to lose my marathon training. I'm not going to become as much of a runner. Have to change up my workout routine or whatever, but I go back to Oregon and I can still beat it up on those old trails that I would run. Like, I am fine. I'm actually beating my time and doing much better because my body is used to more humidity, and that makes a difference in plane performance and in human performance, believe it or not. I'm about 1,000 to 2,000 feet higher here in Georgia, depending on if I'm at work or like depending where I am. So it's a little bit of a higher elevation, and it is more humid. So in the morning, you know, I'm running thinking it'll be cooler in the morning because that's a common thing. But the mornings are actually really humid here. It's 96% humidity. I'm sweating, sweat dripping down my face at 7 a.m. And the thing that's crazy to me is I don't sweat a lot as a person. My feet kind of sweat a lot. My face doesn't sweat a whole lot. But when I work out here, like outside this summer, I've been sweating on my face. And I notice a lot of people will hang out at night because it's too hot during the day, and then people go to the gym actually more often in summer here because July and August they've been something. They've been something. I'm constantly dehydrated. I like the monsoon weather. I like the heat, humidity, and wet, rainy monsoon weather of a summer because I've grown up somewhere that has all 4 seasons, but Portland, Oregon typically will have heat waves in summer, and it's more of a dry heat, which is nice. Honestly, it is nice. I do kind of miss it. But it is cold. It's cold and it's overcast. People think it's the rain. I do not hate rain. I hate the overcast gray weather that makes you feel like you're no better than a cave animal, but you don't get to hibernate. You have to just be awake and be productive and work and go to school and do all of these things and study when it's overcast for 2 weeks on end. I promise you, sad, like, it's the whole thing in the Pacific Northwest. People will come in Portland, Oregon in the summer and think like, this is amazing, I want to move here. You don't get as much sunlight as most of the rest of the other North America. So here, it is kind of monsoony. Like, anytime it'll go above 95 Fahrenheit, it will kind of 30 Celsius, it will kind of 32 Celsius. It is now going to storm for about 4 days. So that's kind of how the weather seems to be playing out. It is a little bit monsoony. I honestly do really like it, and we do need that relief. Like, we need that rain after all the heat. I don't like the car dependent culture of North America, but I do appreciate that Atlanta is a big city similar to New York or LA, but for me it's the only big city I would consider moving to, which we're not going to get into the reasons why I moved. There was a lot of them. Maybe I'll talk about that in another video. However, that being said, Atlanta, the ATL, the peach, is a big, do people call it the peach? Probably not. Atlanta's a big city. Portland, I've always kind of said this to like friends and stuff, but Portland is like a town. It's like a big overgrown town. It's not really like a city when I think about a city, because you can walk. I be that friend that be walking. You already know this about me. But Portland, you can really walk across it in like 2.5 hours. I've done it before, actually. I've walked from like PSU all the way to... Anyways, that being said, ATL's a big city. Like, it's a city. That also being said, there's a lot of amazing food options. The Jamaican food, I crave Jamaican food weekly. And the thing is, it's really easy because it's everywhere and it's all really good. It's all relatively kind of the same, actually, too. Like, there's a standardization of Jamaican food and it's just amazing. I have never driven on a 7-lane highway. ATL truly, Atlanta, has truly made me realize I'm not a city girl. So there's that. So I love certain aspects of being in a big city. I love the opportunities. I love the options, right? There's a lot of excitement and activities. And if you don't like this library, you can pick another one. Why did I choose the nerdiest thing? I was studying in a library the other day and I actually went to 2 different libraries. Not want to live in New York. I would not want to live in Boston. None of those. So ATL is like the big city that I tried out. And I'm like, I love a lot about it. And I really love the people. I love the people and I love the food. And the weather, I'm close to loving it. It is August. Bear with me. It is my first summer in Georgia, so I am acclimating to that. However, I'm not really a city girl. Like, I think I have really realized that moving here. The other day, I was running at like 8:45 p.m., long after the sun had set. And let me tell you something, it was still like 88 degrees Fahrenheit. And then after that, fire ants got to me, which, oh, I need to go take my antihistamine. I'm gonna head out. I'm wearing a fleece, a hoodie, and pants in August, so I think that kind of means I'm a Georgian at this point. I don't really know. However, college dropout here. I'm on a pause with college. I am going back, actually, so let me not keep saying that. If my tati is watching this, I am planning on going back to college. So I'm going to not call myself a college dropout because it is a little bit negative in the term of, yes, my father did come to the States to give me that sacrifice. I don't want to be the chica that talks about their study abroad year the rest of their life. But I mean, if you're going to spend that much money on a semester or term in college, you better talk about it the rest of your life. Honestly, honey, I'm with you. Keep talking about it. ATL, Atlanta, sorry, I keep saying ATL, is the aviation brain, and I'm gonna be late to work, but I texted my student, so. I ate Jamaican yesterday with hot sauce. Now that I think about it. Long sleeve and pants. Because I was too lazy to take my fleece off, and then I was like, this food is like hot. Like, it's pretty hot, pretty spicy. I should maybe take my coat off, and then I didn't because I was too lazy.